Okay, I'm out here today. I'm going to attempt the hand drill from scratch with basic bushcraft tools, just an axe, a saw and a knife. We had a fair amount of snow here. That's the depth across the field. That's what I'm after. Sadly there aren't bits just straight and long enough on this, and they're a bit too oval. There's a perfect bit next to it in shape, but unfortunately it's a bit weathered on the outside. Hopefully it'll focus on that, meaning that it may have let some moisture in. What I'm looking for. Yeah, very decent bit there. Doesn't look too weathered at all. Very well rooted. There we go. That's what happens to the root after all of the energy and carbohydrate in the root has gone into making the clone and stalk. It just drops away to nothing, which is why if you're eating burdock you need to do it in the spring before it flowers. That's in its second year of growth, or in the autumn and late summer of its first year of growth, when it have a big energy packed root. But yeah, that's what I'm going to use. That section there, I think it's got still a bit of a furry coat on it, makes it look a bit white, but that's what I'm after, so I'll use that bit. I've taken the other piece as well, so there's a lovely section there out of the other piece, and I think I'll trim that up now. All the spiky balls have gone because I snapped them off and scattered them around back in the autumn, just to spread its seed around so we get more burdock growing. We had some pretty heavy snow overnight and this morning. Stopped now though, but temperature's dropping now and the wind's picked up, so that's going to be against me when I do this, so I've got to find somewhere out of the wind. This small delicate ambers is certainly not wind resistant. There we go. It's got that pithy core, so it's okay to cut through the woody sides, but once it hits that pithy core it'll break really easily, so you don't want to be cutting forcefully all the way through because you'll end up splintering one side off. Now I cut it about that long, and this is why you really need to get the grips on floating hand drill, because it opens up pieces of burdock like this to you. Otherwise you're going to have to go back to finding some sort of natural cordage to make a lashing to lash a little plug onto the end of a nice straight shaft, which is, you know, it's no great problem, but it's another job to do. You know, the cordage you make doesn't have to be as strong as bow drill cordage, but it still has to be fairly decent so you can put a tight lashing on. Now I'm just smoothing out the sides of this because there's a very ridged surface to it, and it can hurt your hands quite a bit. Even now, after the amount of drilling I've done, if I don't smooth these down, it'll get some really nasty sore spots in my hands which will eventually blister. Right, trim these bits up as well, and I'm going to cut the end completely flat. At the moment it's not flat. I'm going to cut it completely flat. That way it'll bite into the side of the hearth dead easy and create lots of pressure on a small area, making it char quicker. Once it's charred it's no problem. It's getting that initial char can be a bit of a problem. Right, yeah, nice and dry as well, as always with burdock. So there we go. So that's the bit I'm using. Okay, the big dead piece of willow here. Now, to get a nice dry hearth in weather like this, especially if it's been raining for a couple of weeks beforehand, I want to cut into something like this and get the piece from underneath, but I don't know what state of decay it's in. It seems fairly alright. I might check out some other bits nearby, but I'll have a quick chop into this first and see what it's like. mainly. I want to look underneath. That's way too funky. Yeah, useless. That's all decayed and rotten. So forget about that piece. A lot of smaller dead stuff around here is starting to decay, sadly. But this bigger stuff under here isn't too bad. Fairly solid there. Yeah, that's nice and dry in there. Yeah, that's really nice. That's pretty decent. Chopped this little bit down, which I'm going to use to collect the embron. I'm leaving it fairly thick to keep it up and out of the snow. Yeah, that's fairly dry in there. Just finishing it off with a knife because the axe is wet from chopping in all the wood, and it was getting the wood wet, but the knife's nice and dry. So I'm going to stick that bit just under my armpit or somewhere for a minute, whilst I then work on my hearth and put a depression into it. Now, I think we're going to do it this side, slightly thicker on this side. Let me just trim it down a little bit first. Just carving a nice steep sided depression. So it's not too flat bottomed because you want to maximise the friction. You want the edges of the burdock drill to bite in at a steep angle to the edges of this hole, and that way all of your downward pressure will be put over a small area, maximising the force and therefore the friction. So right, let's give it a whirl. Okay, that's the drill I had in my coat. Oh dear. Any snow out, bound to getting everywhere. Make myself comfortable. I'm just going to start drilling slowly using the same routine that I do with wet kit. Just want to warm it up nice and slowly first. Normally it tends to push down a bit in there, so you have to get your knife in, just hollow it out a little bit more, not too much because you don't want to rip out too much of the wood that you've been drying out. This is the hardest bit, getting it to char first of all. Excuse the lens cap flapping around on the camera tripod. There we go, that's now charring. Okay, I'm going to stop at that. There we go, the end of that's charred. The inside of there is charred, and they're going to carve a little V-notch. This is where a really nice rounded back edge comes in useful, because you can put in lots of pressure with the thumb and it's not at all uncomfortable. If you're looking for about an eighth carved out of this, You get the idea with that. Coming along. Okay, ready to go. Sit nice and comfortable. I'm going to use the drying routine a little bit on this, just to warm it up again. Well, actually, hell, let's just see what happens. Let's just go for it. See if we get an ember without doing it. Be careful of the wind. My back is to the wind, but it keeps circulating round. It's a bit of a pain. Okay, let's see. Being really conscious of the wind here. There you go. I'll just zoom in on that for you. Just going to push it to the limit. This is here in the snow. Your ember collecting pan needs to be dry though, that's one thing. But you can use anything for that, even your knife blade if needs be. I've used my knife before. As long as it's dry, it'll do the trick. There you go. Draw off the back. Draw off the tip of the drill. Really wet down in there. Oh dear. So comfortable. Hands are quite wet again. Stop for a minute, let it dry out. Same again. Stop again, let it dry out. It's not been immersed in water, so it's not had a soaking, so it shouldn't take too long. Going to blow off any dust off there because that's bound to harbour the damp. Okay. Burdock really is an amazing bit of material. Zoom onto it before it blows away.